Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Lemoyne Field. Doubleheader matchup rescheduled from Thursday to today. Post University softball taking on the University of Bridgeport in a pair of games starting right now at 2:30 with game number one. We just read off the lineups in the infield, and then I quickly ran out here to do play-by-play. We're a little bit short on staff today, so we're going to do the best that we can. Got the scoreboard in the corner. We're going to try and change camera angles until we get a few more bodies here, but for now, this is what we're going to have to work with. Leading off for the Purple Knights to start this game will be Madison D'Amato in the one spot. And after that will be Meg McFarland batting second. Third will be Angela Oros. Batting fourth will be Isabella Benjamin. Batting fifth will be Charlie Horton. Batting sixth will be Samantha Shieb. Batting seventh will be Sydney Peralt. Batting eighth will be Haley Kim, and then batting last will be Grace DeRitta. But we're ready to go here as D'Amato steps into the box. Again, we're kind of multitasking here, so we're just kind of going as we can. As that one's low for a ball, 1-0. Barnett comes into this game 0-8, but it's a good 0-8. As weird as that sounds, it's not like she's been awful at the mound. She's had a lot of great outings. It's just either the fielding hasn't kept up with her or the offense hasn't produced. 1-1 count coming. Low for a ball, 2-1. A little bit of a different vantage point. We're also scoring the game from up here again because we're kind of all spread out. Baseball getting ready to get underway in a little bit. So Barnett with the 2-1 count. Outside for a ball, 3-1 now to the leadoff hitter D'Amato. Eagles come into this one 4-24 on the year. Only one win in conference play, and as we get to the later parts of April, every game counts more and more and more, especially if they're trying to get that final CACC spot. As that one's low and in the dirt for a ball. And down to first will go D'Amato, bringing Meg McFarland to the plate. With a runner on first. With a runner on first, then nobody out. Barnett gets set to deliver and does. Swung on and missed. Runner going down to second, and D'Amato should be safe. So an 0-1 count. And now over to second goes D'Amato with the stolen base. Bridgeport coming to this one 8-2 in CACC play this year. That one's lined over to first base, caught by Tomasello, and then thrown into right field. Runner won't move anywhere. It'll be one away. Angela Oros to the plate now with one out here. That one skied into center field, right field. Rick Cardulli over to grab it. She does. One away, two away. Isabella Benjamin to the plate now with two down and a runner on second. Barnett delivers in there for a strike, 0-1. The home plate umpire, is coming a little bit late with the strikes, and again, because we can't hear anything from where we are out here, it is a little bit more difficult to get the call right away, but we're somewhat able to see him raise his arm from out here. That one skied into the left side, foul out of play. Count quickly 0-2 for Barnett. First time through the order, Devin Barnett's been pretty strong against the conference opponents she's faced this year. It's the second time through where She starts to struggle a little bit from time to time. She had a great outing against Felician. Post lost that one 1-0. Barnett only threw 51 pitches in that game. Welcome back. Apologies if you missed anything. It seems that the stream went out. So I believe we have a 1-2 count. That one's grounded on the ground to short. D'Amato over to first. Inside retired. So Post gets 2 runs. Well, at the top of the third, it's 5-3. Welcome back here, top of the third. 5-3 Bridgeport, they're batting here. They scored 4 last inning. Post came back with 2 in the bottom half of the inning on a double by Rickard Dooley. Now Horton will see what she can do against Devin Barnett here to start the third inning. 1-0 count. This will be pitch number 45 for Barnett. It's outside for ball 2-0. What? No. 2-0 from Barnett, taking her time here. That one swung on and popped into center field. Peruso makes the grab, one away. To bring Samantha Shieb to the plate. That one's low for a ball, count 1-0. That one's lined on the ground, and DeAngelis tries to make the stop, can't. Going to left field to Rickard Dooley, and the one-out hit for Shieb puts her on first and Peralt to the dish. Looks like we got a pinch runner here. It's going to be Jaden Prevost with Peralt at the plate and 1 down. Umpire is writing it down in his book. Or waiting for him to be ready behind the plate. Brault steps in. Barnett ready. Fires pitch number 1 in their first strike. One from Barnett high, 1-1 the count. Again, if you're just joining us, because it seems like we had some technical errors. Bridgeport leads 5-3. They had 4 runs last inning. That one's bunted on the ground. DeAngelo's going over to grab it. Throws over to first. Outmade, so that sack goes 5-3. Prevo moves over to second with 2 outs. That one's in there for a strike to Kim, 0-1. That one's grounded towards Maida at second. She fires over to first. 4-3. Kim is retired. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. Post will come to the plate. We're going to give you a recap because looking at it, it seems like the stream went down in the top of the first, and we were just alerted to it at the top of the third. So to kind of recap everything that just happened in the first 2.5 innings of play, Devin Barnett issued a leadoff walk to Madison D'Amato, ends up allowing a run with 2 outs to Isabella Benjamin, makes it 1-0 Bridgeport. In the bottom of the inning, Sam Ricarduli leads off with a single. She ends up scoring on Jules Sakala's RBI single with 1 out. Post gets first and second with 2 outs. With 2 outs. Are unable to do anything with it. And then in the top of the second, Bridgeport's bats come to life. 2 singles, an advance on wild pitch, a fly out to left field. Dorita bunts, gets on base, so the base is loaded with 1 out. D'Amato then flies out and gets a sac fly. McFarland a 2-run single, and then a throwing error allows another run to score. Made it 5-1. 2 runs on Ricarduli's hit. Helps shift things the other way for Post. Same fielding arrangements despite the pinch runner. I believe that was the DP, that's why. Zarat allows a ground ball over to the right side, over to first. Tomasello retired. No. Tomasello is going to be safe on the errant throw by Oros. Thought it was intermit, went to look down to put it in the stats because doing double duty today. And saw the ball back at the fence afterwards. So Tomasello gets on an error by Oros at third. And once again, Post has the leadoff runner on. Only trailing by 2. It's the bottom of the third. One-0. Outside for a ball, 2-0 the count. So because the last couple of innings didn't record, you definitely didn't hear me mention it, but Julia Maida, since the beginning of the year, has been playing with a broken thumb. Injured it just before the season, during warm-ups for the season, or for the season's first game. Apologies. Has been playing through that in the lineup pretty much every single day so far this year. It's low for a ball, and I must have missed a pitch because I had 3 balls on my screen. So it is 3-1 the count. Must have been a delayed strike call when I was looking down. 3-1, line by Maida into left field. It's a base hit. Tomasello, though, is going to be thrown out, so it's actually not going to be a base hit. That goes down as a fielder's choice, unfortunately. And retired 9-4 will be Tomasello at second. And bring Bailey Dickinson to the plate with now 1 out, so pretty much nullifies the error there as that one's chopped foul on 1. Again, bottom of the third, it's a 2-run game right now in favor of Bridgeport. Flied in the center field. That's going to be caught by McFarland, and Maida won't be able to go anywhere. So 2 away for Alyssa Calabrese. Calabrese singled in her first at bat to left. That one's high for a ball. 1-0 the count. Two outs, runner on first. Post trails by 2. Calabrese fouls that one off towards the cars in the parking lot. Watch out to the car that's driving over there right now. Again, we are right on the campus, so anything foul, I mean, there is a slew of cars right behind the third base dugout, and then the whole entire parking lot to our left as students are here. And they're going to say she didn't offer. I didn't even see Calabrese take the bat off her shoulder, but they appealed down to the first base ump, and he conferred with what we thought we saw here. So Calabrese steps in with a 2-1 count. He's going to foul that one off to the right side. So count moves to 2-2. Zarate 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. It looked promising for Post early on, but we're just not able to do anything with that initial error. Maida it nearly was first and second with nobody out, but Tomasello was thrown out at second when Maida rocketed it into right field. It's always one of those tough ones, too, with the dimensions of a softball field because you don't want to take off right away and risk being thrown out, or risk the right fielder catching and then you're doubled off first. But Tomasello not able to get to second before the throw. That one's outside. Maida taking off for second. She's out. It's very close. It looked like Maida nearly danced around the tag, but she does not. So Maida retired. Post. Looked like they had something going. Nothing doing, though. Head to the fourth. 5-3 Bridgeport. Back here for the fourth inning. Dorita to the dish. It's 5-3. That was the first inning last inning, folks, where neither team scored a run. And that's a high sack bunt that goes out of play. Count remains 0-1. Excuse me, goes to 0-1. A lot of post-student athletes soaking up the sun out here watching softball in the outfield with picnic blankets. We also have baseball that just started over at Municipal Stadium. Everybody's playing Bridgeport today, if you're post. Besides tennis, who's playing Dominican at 3, and then golf is down in North Carolina. And yet again, the leadoff runner on for Bridgeport. Dorito with with a single up the middle. Top of the lineup coming up in D'Amato. So runner on first, nobody out. Again, these are 2 7-inning games. Over at Municipal, they're playing 1 9-inning game. Swung on and missed, and they're not going to catch her. So in the second safely is Dorita. The Purple Knights just taking advantage of their speed on the base paths. That one's hitting the air to center field. Peruso charging, Ricarduli charging, and that's a top 10 play right there, if I don't say so myself. Sam Ricarduli with the diving grab. Hats off to her. That's going to make the swoopy reel. Probably saved a run. So one away. Meg McFarland to the plate. Somebody getting loose for softball in the, for Bridgeport in the other bullpen. Of course, this is softball. Sack bunt right back to Barnett. I mean, they didn't have any chance at getting McFarland. She was down that line, and she's already back at first before Barnett's even back on the mound. So that's going to be an infield single. Dorita moved to third. Angela Oros to the dish now with runners on the corners. And only one down. Here in the top of the fourth. Barnett delivers. They're going to try and bunt again. That's going to be a strike. Again, these Eagles, you just saw it right there. You missed it earlier on. I did talk about it. When it comes to bunting, other teams have really taken advantage of the fielding woes that Post has had this year on the infield with successfully being able to stop the bunt plays and have actually manufactured quite a few hits off of them. That's going to be chop foul for a strike, 0-2 the count. They've taken full advantage of Post in that regard. And just did it again there. Oris down on the count 0-2. That pitch is high for a ball, 1-2 the count. Again, only one out here and runners on the corners. Post trailing 5-3. You don't want this one to get out of hand too quick. Chopped on the ground, picked by Dickinson. Throws over to first to retire Oros. Runner moves up to second. McFarland. Dorita stays put at third. So second and third now. Benjamin at the plate. Isabella Benjamin. As the Eagles look to get out of a jam unharmed here. Already 9 hits for Bridgeport. The pitch is high for a ball. From Benjamin, to Benjamin. Hit in the air, deep to center field. Peruso goes back, makes the grab. Side retired. So the Eagles able to escape some trouble as Benjamin retired on the fly ball. Head to the bottom of the fourth. 5-3 post. Trails. Bottom of the lineup coming here for post. Alyssa Calabrese at the plate. I am definitely going to be either sunburned or really tan by tomorrow. I can already feel my skin burning. But it's a beautiful day, so I guess it's worth it. I mentioned it on the last broadcast. It wasn't even this warm, and our grad assistant, Jack Olson's entire face was burned by the end of the day. And it was only like 45 degrees out, but it was a beautiful sunny day. Post currently tied at 0 in the second inning of baseball over at Municipal, with runners on first and second for Bridgeport there. Again, I mentioned, like, everybody is playing Bridgeport if you're post today, besides men's tennis, who's taking on Dominican. Men's tennis got their first win yesterday against Chestnut Hill. And men's golf is currently 8th in their tournament down in North Carolina. The Trojan invite. Fouled off. 2-1 to count. Eagles have had their chances in these first few innings to get more, and they've gotten, again, they have 3 right now, but they had more chances to do damage and weren't able to cash in. It's high for a ball, 3-1. Calabrese, the freshman, had a few appearances on the mound to start the year, but has pretty much been the left fielder since. Hits that one back to Zarate at the pitcher's mound, and she throws over to first. 1 away. For Brooke Dickinson. Dickinson 1 for 1 on the day. That one's fouled off. Again, apologies for not having the numbers for players right away. I'm statting currently on the computer while doing play-by-play for this game, and unfortunately can't pull the stats up anywhere else while trying to go pitch by pitch for this. Zarate deals. Oh, and Brooke Dickinson lifts that one into left field, but it goes foul. Off the bat, from this angle, it looked like she had the perfect stroke for a home run. It was well short of the wall and foul, but looked like it had the distance off the bat. Again, it's hard to tell from out here for the most part. Carly Peruso on deck, 1 away here. Alyssa Calabrese just grounded out to Zarate at the pitcher's mound. Now Dickinson in a 1-2 hole. Takes that one inside. Count moves to 2-2. Dickinson, a transfer from CCSU. Was there for a year and then joined post after the fact. That one's fouled off into the cage. Count remains 2-2. 2-2, fouled off to the right side and into the parking lot. I had to do a double take. I did move my car after dropping off the equipment here, but that one's actually rolling right towards where my car is parked. Thanks for the souvenir. That one's high for a ball, and count moves full to 3-2. Three-two count. One out here. Calabrese was in a 3-1 count before grounding out. It's not like Zarate has had overpowering stuff either for on the mound. Is Brooke Dickinson's rung up. She thought that she had a walk there, but she does not. She strikes out looking. That brings Carly Peruso to the plate. 2 outs, nobody on. Have a chance at 2 straight scoreless innings. We'll head to the 5th after that. That was in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. It's flied into right field and foul. Benjamin tried to go over and grab it. She could not. The count moves to 0-2. Oh, too high for a ball. 1-2 the count. Both pitchers settling in after that tough start. That one's outside for a ball, and count moves to 2-2. So each of these times, Eagles have been in a hitter's count. Haven't been able to get anybody on, though, in this inning. So right now you're looking at a 2-2 count for Peruso, and now that'll go to 3-2. So every batter's had 3 balls against them in this inning. Dickinson was rung up. Calabrese grounded out. I think patience at the plate is the most important thing if you're the Eagles right now, because Zarate does not, again, is not pounding the zone as Peruso fouls that one off. If it's close, swing. If not, honestly, just take it, because the way that she's looked right now is not indicative of someone who's going to just absolutely kill you with the strikes over the plate like we've seen some pitchers do. And that one's low for a ball, so patience pays off for Peruso. And Sam Ricarduli, who, if you missed it, had a single and a double to start this game, is halfway to the cycle. And as it stands, she should have 2 more at-bats, I would think. Unless a mercy rule were to happen in favor of Bridgeport in the 5th. Ricarduli should get 1 more go-around in the 7th, assuming that Post doesn't take the lead. Yeah, assuming Post were to not take the lead back, and we played all 7 innings, she'd get at least 1 more at bat if they were retired in order for the next 2 innings. So a quick mound visit there. I may not have the names of all the assistants, but I apologize. That was Ray Ramelli Jr. Was looking to see who it could have possibly been, and there's 4 assistants, and 3 of them are women, and it was a guy who came out to the mound. So that was Ray Ramelli Jr. who just walked out. That's a ball high. 1-0 the count. And Ricarduli now lines that one into center field. It's going to be caught right there by McFarland. Side retired. So, Post gets a runner on. Not able to do anything with it. Horton's going to lead off in the 5th inning when we return. 5-3 Bridgeport. Fifth inning. Horton at the dish. Charlie Horton, that is. Trying to lead the inning off on a high note for the Purple Knights, who, with that 4 spot in the second inning, have not relinquished the lead since. And Post has had a couple chances to tie it up, but not able to convert. That one's in the air by Horton towards the right side. Excuse me, the left side. Ricarduli charges on, makes the grab. Sam Sheeby back into the game for Prevost, who pinch ran for her. In softball, you can re-enter a couple of times. I want to say it's twice. I don't know the rule for sure, so don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure you can re-enter the game twice. That one's in there for a strike, 0-1. Barnett coming to this at bat at 67 pitches. 44 for strikes, so her ball to strike ratio, or strike to ball ratio, is really, really good to see. She had a very rough start to start her collegiate career against Franklin Pierce. But really, as time has gone on, she's looked better and better and more confident on the mound. And you see it here. Like, you give them 4 runs in the second inning, but she has not flinched at that and really settled back in. We saw Jenny Raquelme warming up a little earlier, but she's no longer warming up now. Low for a ball. 1-2 the count. Seen some pretty well hit balls from both sides, too. We've seen some great plays. Ricarduli in left field. I believe it was D'Amato at short. That one's in the dirt for a ball, 2-2. Making some web gem plays. On what feels like a Saturday here at Post. Two count to Sheeby. Fouled off. Count remains 2-2. As we get later in the day, too, the sun will start to not feel as warm. Chopped to DeAngelis at third. Throws over to first. Tomasello makes the catch. 2-way for Peralt. It's a 2-way. Barnett, again, really has settled in since those first go-arounds, has made good adjustments. And I mentioned it, again, at the top of the broadcast. Again, I don't remember what got cut off and what didn't. But the big thing about her that I noticed this time around is the first at-bats were the ones where Bridgeport was hitting her. And something I mentioned at the top of the broadcast was it was kind of reversed for most of her starts so far, where she would start out strong in the first go-around and would struggle in the second go-around of the batters that she faced. We've seen a reversal here where it seems like Barnett's made the adjustments on the mound after the first go-around, and she's overpowering the hitters. That one's in there for a strike. Count moves to 1-2. And for a freshman, again, you're going to look at the numbers and say, well, she's 0-8. But it's not indicative. Again, pitcher's record can be misleading at times, depending on if you're starter reliever when you came into the game. As that one's grounded over to DeAngelis at third, throws over, and the side is retired. But like I was saying, it's not always indicative of how great a pitcher is. Barnett's looked really good in her last few starts, but you're not always going to win in those situations. Again, I mentioned she had a 1-0 loss where she pitched brilliantly and only allowed 3 hits. But it was an error that did her in, and the run was unearned because the runner scored from first on an error. But it's those little things that don't show up always in the box score if you're a pitcher. And Barnett, as just a freshman, has looked really, really good for Post. And the way she's continued to progress as the year's gone on the mound, she's going to be somebody to watch as an ace possibly for this team in the next few years as she develops. And they'll need somebody to be that ace because with how many seniors they have on their team, Post is going to lose a lot of their pitching. Junior Alyssa Hughes will be back. Senior Madison Caldwell and Jenny Raquelme are gone. They're seniors. Of course, with the eligibility rules, I don't 100% always know if that's the case. I'm just assuming based on their year and because they were just honored the other day. You got Alyssa Calabrese, who hasn't pitched much as of late, and then you have Alyssa Hughes and Devin Barnett. And Barnett's looking like your number one for next year. That one's lined by DeAngelis, and she is 4 hits away from 150 in her Post career. So Caitlin DeAngelis now at 146 career hits. Again, has a chance to do it in this doubleheader. It's going to be difficult to, as that first pitch is up high for a ball. She would be number 15, DeAngelis, if she were to get it to join the 150 hit club. She would actually join her teammate, her former teammate, Lady Rivera, who's the current assistant coach, and Allison Wallauer on that list. That one's low for a ball. 2-1. Important thing that I'm looking at, like the top of this list, a lot of these people from the early 90s, this was before Post went D2. So a lot of the records that you see in the record book may never be broken. And a big reason for that is because a lot of them predate Post's arrival to the D2 level in the late 90s / early 2000s. So those early 90s records are from their time as an NAIA school. So when you see some of them with batters hitting 400, 450 for their career, it's going to be hard to beat that. That one's lined up the middle by Sakala. And the Eagles threatening here, and they got the right person up to do some damage. It's Lily Tomasella with a chance to give her team the lead, but Dawn Stern's going out, and I think we're probably going to get a pitching change. Yep, we will. Or will we? It looks like they are. Yeah, they are changing pitchers. Looks like it's Katie Borowski coming out. Borowski 6-7 on the year. So Zarate's day is done. And we've seen teams do this too, as they go to their number one. They sometimes have gone to their number 2 against Post and then flip to their number 1 once things get a little hairy. And Post has struggled against the top pitchers in the rotation for their opposition this year. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Although against Jefferson, they did knock around their ace in games 1 and 2, but DiLorenzo was able to shut things down in both of those games to get the win for her team. So Borowski will come out to pitch as Bridgeport clinging on to a 2-run lead. Here in the bottom of the 5th. Game 2 currently slated. I mean, it's definitely not starting at 4:30, but we typically do that just in case. Borowski finishing up her warm-ups here. We're just kind of keeping it here and waiting. Tomasella, though, the right person up to do some damage for Post. See if they can get back into this game. We saw them come back in the last 2 games, but we're not able to get a win in that. So we check the Bridgeport Post's baseball score. It's currently 0-0 in the 4th inning. Bridgeport, no runs on 2 hits with 1 error. Post, no runs, no hits, no errors. Eagles trying to snap a 2-game losing streak after getting swept by Goldie Beacom in a pair of games on Sunday. We are currently in our 4th of 5 straight days of home games here at Post. 2 more on deck tomorrow. Softball back here against Chestnut Hill at 2. And then we get a few days off before doubleheader lacrosse on Saturday. Pitches in there for a strike, 1-1. Rain in the forecast, but later in the afternoon, so we're hopeful we'll get them in. Tomasello hits that one out towards me, but it's going to be caught by Peralt for the first out. She must have heard me saying she hits all her fly balls to left field and then decided to reverse course and hit it towards right field up to where the landing is. That's the one thing we've been wondering if we're going to end up seeing at some point. Not that we're hoping it happens, but are we eventually going to potentially see a home run ball come and possibly take out somebody up here or force us to scramble real quick? We don't want it to happen, but it would certainly make for entertaining television. 0-1 count to Maida. Borowski did her job against Tomasello. Now Maida fouls that one off. Foul. Quickly 0-2. Swung on and missed. So Maida down on strikes, and this is what I was again also talking about, is the runners in scoring position at times have been an issue for Post to manufacture anything. They now had first and second with nobody out in this inning. Now 2 down, and the chance that Bridgeport's going to be able to get out of this unscathed as Bailey Dickinson strolls to the dish with 2 outs. Dickinson takes that pitch high in there for a strike. Delayed strike call there, and it's 0-1 the count. Every pitch, every umpire has a different style of calling balls and strikes. So sometimes you see a little bit of a delay and hesitation on it, and it's just because they're going through their natural motion of coming up with the fist for the strike call. That one was a bit delayed on the first pitch, but count 1-1 now. Swung on and fouled off by Dickinson. 1-2. If you hear me saying their entire name over and over again, it's because we do have 2 Dickinsons on the team. They're sisters. This one's Bailey Dickinson, the other Brooke Dickinson. Bats later in the lineup. 1-2 count. From Borowski. High, 2-2. Borowski pitching quickly. Ooh, got her. Got her looking. And Borowski comes in and does her job. Gets to the next 3 batters. Post doesn't get anything out of that. 6th inning, 5-3, Bridgeport. Kim at the dish. Barnett still on the mound. 5-3 Bridgeport here in the 6th. That one's hitting the air to center field. Peruso going back on it. Makes the grab. One away for Dorita. Bottom of the lineup. Again, we're going to play 2 here today. So we'll end the stream after game 1 and bring you game 2 after that. And hopefully we can get maybe 1, maybe 2 wins out of this and get some post-game interviews. We like to do that after wins or big milestones. So if Caitlin DeAngelis were to get hit number 150, we definitely want to talk to her about what that means after the second game. She's currently 4 away, so we're watching that as Dorita popped that one up and made it caught it for out number 2. So a real quick inning right here for Post. But they need some runs when they come to bat. If they could get 3 in the bottom of the 5th, they could head to the 7th with a chance to end things. And they've been in a lot of these games in the last few doubleheaders. It's just they have not been able to shut the door or get out in front early. They've struggled to get out to a lead to start a game and have played from behind in a lot of cases. As that one's grounded over to Dickinson. Brooke Dickinson over to first. Oh. I'm not quite sure from this angle, and again, I don't know what you saw on the stream because I can't see it right now, but to me it looked like, first of all, Dickinson made a great stab there at short. And I thought Lily Tomasello in the splits made that grab and kept her foot on the base, but first base umpire saw otherwise, and they're just going to do what they did before, but this time it doesn't work. D'Amato out trying to steal second. That goes down 2-6. They've done this a few times now. It doesn't pay off there. So 2-6 caught stealing. Bottom 6, can the Eagles get some runs? 5-3 Bridgeport. Back here at the bottom of the 6th inning, Alyssa Calabrese coming to the plate. That first pitch is outside for a ball. I can finally take the shades off for a little bit because the sun's kind of behind my back now. Everything looks dark with sunglasses on. That just means they're doing their job. But it's very hard to see the computer screen while doing that. 2-0 the count. Eagles were threatening last inning against Zarate, but they were not able to get anything as they brought in Borowski, and she retired the next 3 Eagle hitters with no problem. Swan and missed, and Borowski could very well be the Game 2 starter. So if you're the Eagles right now, you're getting your first look at Borowski here in Game 1. You got to be ready to jump on her in Game 2 because right now she's dominating the lineup, and she's pitching fast. She's giving these hitters no time to step out and take their time. Borowski's just ready to go. Calabrese is just stepping back in. 6, that one off the plate, 3-2 the count. the Eagles can get 3 here, they would head into the top of the 7th with the lead and a chance to get their first win in quite some time here at Lemoyne Field. Be their first win since their win against AIC. Swung on a miss, though, and Calabrese down on strikes, bringing Brooke Dickinson to the plate with 1 away. Game 2 coming 30 minutes after this one. As we approach the 4 o'clock hour here. In less than 24 hours from now, we'll be back here for another doubleheader. The softball taking on Chestnut Hill at 2. Again, this doubleheader was originally supposed to be played on Thursday. Rain postponed it to today. It was already postponed from last week. It's been a very rainy spring here, as that's another strikeout. Brusa to the plate. It's been a very rainy last couple of weeks here in Connecticut and in the Northeast. We had the solar eclipse yesterday. We had 3 or 4 days of rain last week. We had an earthquake on Friday. A little bit of everything. And now we've got softball. As we continue through the spring season here at Post. Conference tournament's just a couple weeks away as Peruso hits that one in the air to right field. Picked up there by Peralt, and the side will be retired. So we head to the 7th. Post still trails 5-3. Seventh inning, Post needs to keep Bridgeport off the scoreboard and then score 3 in the bottom of the 7th, or else Game 1 would go to the Purple Knights, all because of a 4-run second inning. And again, if you're just joining us, Post has had their chances, just not able to cash in since that second inning. Swung on the ground to Tomasello at first. She steps on the bag for the putout, and Oros now to the dish. Angelo Oros coming to the plate. If you ever hear me call Tomasello Lily Tomasello repeatedly, it's mostly a habit because it's become a thing with the softball girls to, when they see me in the office, to walk by and say, "Hey, Mike Vesci," and I usually respond with their full name as well. So Lily's been one of the players since I got here in the fall who has done that pretty much since the start. So it's just become a habit to do it. That one's fouled off. We have a great, even though it doesn't show up in the wins column, we have a great team of softball girls who help us with a lot of what we do here behind the scenes, not only with our broadcasts, but with our game day operations. That one's skied in the air towards Maida. She's going to make the catch on the outfield grass and put second out in the inning for Benjamin. But we have a great group of softball girls who help us out pretty much year-round until the spring season, when they're in season. And currently right now, because they want me to, our women's soccer team is also helping us in the spring right now, to my left. As that one's skied in the air by Benjamin, off the top of the wall. Wow, nice pick by Calabrese. Good job, Alyssa. Carly and Alyssa can hear me on the call, so they just turned around and smiled. But that one's hit deep. Calabrese, with a nice play off the wall, is able to keep Benjamin to a long single, which is big here, because now Post has a chance to keep this at a 2-run game. I think we're going to get a pinch runner, too. Nope, pinch hitter. I lied. It is a pinch runner. No, and a pinch hitter. 2 for the price of 1. 13, Emily Chase at first. And number 22, Maya Jones at the dish. That one's outside for ball. Again, since we're doing stats out here, we can't see what the umpire is saying. So I have Julia Wysocki from the women's ice hockey team relaying me it via text for the stats. That one's in there for a strike, 1-1 the count. Again, Post will be taking their last ups here in the bottom of the inning, so trying to keep this at a 2-run game. Up high for a ball, 2-1. Both teams exchanged runs in the first 2 innings, but it's been quiet since. 2-1 count from Barnett. In there for a strike. Delayed strike call gets me every time right now. I thought he was going to call that one a ball, but it was at the top of the zone. So 2-2 count, 2 outs to Jones. Eagles, can they escape this inning without allowing a run? And Jones lies that one into right field. This is actually a big, big play right there. So because it bounced over the wall, it's a ground rule double. So no run is going to be able to score on that. Almost, in a way, the worst case scenario if you're Bridgeport, because instead of getting a run in, which definitely would have scored on that, they're not going to be able to, because the runner's just going to go straight to second. Now I think they're trying to... Dawn Stearns is trying to argue that the runner should be allowed to go home because he was already rounding third. But the rule is typically when that happens, a ground rule double, you advance 2 bases. And so that's what happened. It's not like the runner was already at home. Stearns still talking about it. And now it's settled. Post just struck for 7 runs in the 4th inning of their game against Bridgeport in baseball. There is the 10-run mercy rule, too, so that might, depending on how things continue to go, might be over pretty soon. That pitch is outside for a ball to Shebe. 1-0 count. Barnett trying to escape this jam, keep it out a 2-run game going into the last at-bat. So that one's hit deep in the air to left center. Peruso nearly makes the catch off the wall. Can't. Calabrese fires in, and that's going to be a 2-run double for Shebe. And that's going to break the door open on this game, make it a 7-3 game. That one's a ball outside. That one's in there for a strike now. Just trying to catch up on a few little stat things here that we had to fix. 1-1 count. That one's flied into the infield. Made it going over. Can't make the diving grab. Coming around to score will be Shibi. And it's a single for Peralt. And the runs keep coming now for Bridgeport with 2 outs. Kim at the dish. It's 8-3. Even if it gets to an 8-run game now, though, it will not be a mercy rule because Post will have to get their last ups. Just an unfortunate turn of events here with 2 outs. Barnett had everything going for her, and then just bats started to get going for the Purple Knights. Haley Kim now to the dish. Pitch is low and there for a ball, 1-0. Barnett's allowed 3 runs this inning. Line drive at Dickinson. She throws over to first. Side retired, but not before Bridgeport gets 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors, 1 left on base. Get a few changes in the field. We'll bring that for you right after this. Sam Ricardulli back in for the 7th inning. This is it for Post. It was only a 2-run game coming into the 7th, but Bridgeport bats came to life with 2 outs. And now it's 8-3, and Borowski, who came in the 5th with first and second no one out, has dominated this Post lineup so far, and the Eagles have had no answers for it. And Borowski, if I had to guess, is probably going to be the Game 2 starter, too. So, again, the Eagles getting their first look at her. Ricardulli takes that one for strike 1 and 2. Fouled off, and we'll keep it here at 1 and 2. And Borowski ready, fires, grounded towards short. That's picked by D'Amato over to first, safe. High throw, that's going to be an error. Ricardulli would have been out at first if not for the wild throw. So she's on with an error. And we saw this from Post last time. Last couple of games, they've had their chances in the 7th inning to come back, and they get a few runs and aren't quite able to complete the comeback. Can they do it today? It all starts with one. That's why I talked about in the top of the inning how critical it was you get out of the inning in only a 2-run game, because if they had gotten it to only a 2-run game and kept it there, this would be the tying run. Pitch outside for a ball, 2-0 the count. Swung on and missed. 2-1. Broski ready, fires, and I believe it was fouled off. I mean, she definitely swung at it. I didn't know if that went straight to the backstop or not. Could not hear the sound of the bat on it. So 2-2 the count. To DeAngelis, who I mentioned before is 4 hits now away from 150. So if she gets one right here, legitimate chance in game 2 to possibly get to 150 and become the 15th player in program history to do that. Swung on, line drive, foul. Just outside of the line. Peralt might have been able to get that if that did stay fair, though, because it didn't hang up far and deep enough. So hit number 147. Not quite there. Three-two coming. And the Eagle is going to have 2 on now and nobody out. And again, similar situation to what we saw in the 5th. Heart of the lineup coming up too. Jewel Sakala now to the dish. First and second, nobody out. And Tomasello on deck too. Again, though, it's a 5-run game. Oh, 1 to Sakala. Fouled off, and quickly she's behind in the count 0-2. Eagles allowed 4 runs in the 2nd, 3 in the 7th. Barnett had a great middle part of her start, and then 2 outs just kind of unraveled a little bit. Had a few great cutoff plays by the outfield, but just not able to get to any of those fly balls that really hit well. Swung on a miss by Sakala, 1 away. That'll bring Tomasello to the plate. So going into game 2, unless something crazy happens here and they bat around again, DeAngelis will be at 146 career hits and would need 4 in game 2 to join the 150 hit club. So chances are that won't happen today because it'll be hard to get 4 at bats. It's even harder to go 4 for 4. Not impossible, but still. As Tomasello skies that one out to right field, Peralt over to it, makes the grab. And again, the Eagles with runners in scoring position and no one out have struggled. And it's been with the heart of the lineup up, too, where they've not been able to do anything, as they're 1 out away from losing game 1, 8-3. Both teams making great adjustments after the first couple of innings defensively in terms of totally missed where that one went. Apparently it was hit, and Peralt makes the catch, and the game is over. So that was caught in foul territory. I did not hear it come off the bat. And that's the game. So interesting way to end it right there and wrap it up. However, we'll get you the winning and losing pitchers real quick. So Zarate is going to exit with the win. She moves to 6-8. Devin Barnett, the unfortunate loser, even though she had a great start, And Borowski's actually going to get a save because when she came in, it was a 2-run game. So Borowski picks up a save. I'm trying to get that for you right now in terms of how many saves on the year that is. First save of the year for Borowski. Post loses this one in Game 1. 8-3. We'll be back here for Game 2 in about 30 minutes from now.